me so much, and I'm sure it annoys everybody else out there. And so we're going to have that conversation. Before that, are you interested in learning French? My friends at Alliance Française says if you're interested in learning French this year, they're still waiting for you at their premises here in Accra. They have experienced and professional teachers. They have online, in-person, and hybrid classes. They have flexible time schedules, and they have French for teenagers and children above the age of 3. So if you want your child to learn French, Alliance Française is the place to be. Please call them on 050-128-7814, 050-128-7814, or send them a WhatsApp message on 050-128-7818, 050-128-7818, or visit their website at afaccra.org. Something exciting is happening. Basket Mouth Unprovoked. Are you looking for that comedy plot to complete your Easter checklist? Then join Basket Mouth and his team as they present the Easter comedy show dubbed The Unprovoked on 8th April at the Accra International Conference Center. The time is 7 p.m. and also expect enthralling and rib-cracking performances from Lexi, Buchi, our very own Obi Amponsa, and Foster Romanus, R for Romanus, O for Omanus, M for Manus, the rest you know. Tickets are available at Frankie's, Accra Mall, Nalem Clothing, Bachona Total for a cool 500 Ghana cedis VIP and 300 Ghana cedis standard. You can also visit vtickets.com, VEE-tickets.com for more tickets. Now, let's have that cyberbullying conversation, okay? Joining me this morning, we have Isaac Socrates Mensah. He is Senior Manager at the Cybersecurity Authority. And then, of course, our very own Phoebe Bessemete, who is a psychologist, also joins us this morning. Gentlemen and lady, good morning.
Good morning.
We are well?
Yes, we are.
Sure.
Awesome. Let's just go straight into the conversation. And I want to ask, let me start off, they say ladies first, but I want to start off with Isaac and ask what the Cybersecurity Agency Authority is CSA, that's what you call it, yeah, CSA, right? What the CSA defines explicitly as cyberbullying.
Okay, so cyberbullying from the perspective of the CSA is any statement, image, comment, anything on social media that the user or the victim feels harassed or embarrassed about.
Interesting. I'll come back to you. Let me correct myself. Yeah. So I confused Dr. Evelyn Owusu-Roberts, and I like that you didn't say anything with Phoebe. I'm so sorry. That's why I kept saying counselor. Okay, Dr. Evelyn Owusu-Roberts, licensed clinical psychologist. Forgive me, okay? Thank you. Amen. Let's go back to the explanation. So did you say teenagers?
It cuts across. It's not
okay,
just
so not just teenagers.
Yes.
Because I was looking at the definition on Google and it says teenagers. So I was wondering if cyberbullying was just among teenagers.
Not at all.
So
any
it cuts
user,
across.
Yes.
Of
the internet space could be a victim of cyberbullying.
And what exactly will anybody do to warrant or to qualify as cyberbullying? Is it insult? Is it heckling? Is it what exactly? Are there terms that, how do I identify that I'm being bullied online?
Well, I wouldn't say there are terms to define, but it actually sits with the person who is on the receiving end of that comment. Okay, so once you post a comment or you post something that I feel or targeted at me, that I feel that it's embarrassing to me, it's harassing me, I don't feel comfortable about, it constitutes as cyberbullying, and I feel that I should be heard regarding that. So we wouldn't rather want to put terms around to box ourselves in terms of this doesn't qualify, but me at the receiving end is the one who feels bullied at this point in time.
Okay. We need to clearly understand it.
Yeah.
Because I know cyberbullying is also known as cyber harassment and online bullying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, you at the receiving end could mistaken my candid opinion
yes.
for bullying, isn't it? So you post a beautiful picture, yes, very nice, and I think that, this your hair, it's not really nice. If I say, but this hair here is not nice, am I bullying you, or that's my candid opinion?
Yes, it could be your candid opinion, but maybe on my side, I feel I'm being bullied. But in this context, we need to really look into it carefully. Because fine, I might be feeling bullied, but you also feel that was your candid opinion. It's about me telling you how uncomfortable I am with it, and being polite regarding it. And you also, one way or the other, just, stop going, doing or making such comments around, because I don't feel comfortable around it. So it's all about respecting your space and also respecting my space in this case.
If you say that, and when you post anything on social media, nobody at all is supposed to comment, isn't it?
One way or the other, because that's why it's about us understanding what we are signing up to when we're on social media. You understand? Because when you go on social media, it's an open space. Anybody is at will to do what he or she feels is right. And you posting something there, that means you're attracting people to comment on it. Social media has developed to a point that these days they are even putting in measures where you can even control. Okay, and that's because of certain things like this. So if you think you can't tolerate, then you go in for your privacy settings, and then what people say about you or Act, which was passed into law in 2020, actually criminalizes that action. Okay, in terms of. So I have a copy of the act here. So
okay, please.
Section 65 of the act actually makes it clear regarding even threatening someone sexually is criminalized in this act. Someone who's below the age of 18. Yes.
Okay. The 17 is a child, right?
Yes.
Okay.
A child who is below the ages of 18 in this case. So Section 65, and I read, a person shall not use a computer online service, an internet service, or a local internet bulletin board service, or any other electronic device to compile, transmit, publish, produce, buy, sell, receive, exchange, or disseminate the name, telephone number, electronic email address, residence address, picture, physical description, characteristics, or any other identifying information on a child in furtherance of an effort to arrange a meeting with the child for the purposes of exchanging in sexual intercourse, sexually explicit conduct, or unlawful sexual activity. Now, anyone who goes in contravention to these sections commits an offense and is liable to a summary conviction of a term of imprisonment of not less than 5 years and not more than 15 years. So we are looking at between 15 and 5 years. Again, for the purpose of this section, unlawful sexual activity means a sexual activity characterized by a recurrent, intense sexual urge of a person, a sexual arousing fantasy of a person, or the use of an object by a person. Let me just go to section 66 as well to talk about it. It talks about sexual extortion.
Okay.
A person shall not threaten to distribute, post, email, text, or transmit by electronic means or otherwise a private image or moving images of a person engaged in sexually explicit conduct with the intent to harass, threaten, coerce, intimidate, or exert any undue influence on the person, especially to extort money or other considerations, or to compel the victim to engage in unwanted sexual activity. So I can go on and on here, and there's even another one on non-consensual sharing of intimate images.
Okay, Isaac, I feel like this has gone beyond cyberbullying, isn't it? Yes. It sounds like child pornography, child exploitation, and all that, isn't it?
Yes, but they're all forms of bullying if we are going into it. Yes.
So with what you just read, it's just for children, right?
Yes, this is for children, but in terms of sexual extortion, and
it goes beyond.
Yes, that goes beyond children, and then the non-consensual sharing of intimate images also goes beyond children.
I'll bring Dr. Evelyn soon. I really want to understand the real definitions and what qualifies as the cyberbullying. So going back to the conversation again, so I was on Google checking out what they define as, or what generally is defined as cyberbullying, and they say that harmful bullying behavior can include posting rumors, threats, sexual remarks, a victim's personal information, or pejorative labels, that is hate speech. So posting rumors, threats, sexual remarks, victim's personal information. Victim's personal information, we can understand. That is too much, putting somebody's identity out there. Sexual remarks, you put a beautiful picture, it's like, hey, your lips is nice, oh. That's bullying. Maybe this is a good time to bring Dr. Evelyn inside. Hey, you have beautiful lips, so is that a sexual remark?
Sometimes also depends on how the person takes it. So if they feel like you are being really sexual about that remark, then sometimes you can. So sometimes the objective, sexualized remarks where everyone can agree that that's a sexualized remark. And then there's the one that personally you feel like, I don't want to hear that. So there's the objective.
I think that's where my confusion comes in, because it seems that bullying can only be bullying if the victim says that it is bullying. It's almost like the victim defines bullying. So, for instance, this same beautiful picture, like let's say a lady posts, I come and say, oh, beautiful lips. And she says, oh, thank you. And she posts another picture, let's say not that same picture, maybe 2 weeks after. And someone says, hey, your lips are nice, oh. And she finds it offensive because perhaps maybe she doesn't know, let's say she knows me, she doesn't know this person. She will say that, okay, that is her being sexually harassed, and that qualifies for she being bullied?
Yeah, so that's when the subjective, and then the objective comes in. So there are certain activities that can objectively be agreed upon that this is bullying. When someone is, well, there's physical bullying and there's cyber bullying. So someone, there's an image out there, and then you read the comments. Not nice, that's not nice. And so that's where sometimes, like for women especially, it's a wasting. Right? So sometimes, like, oh, you're getting so fast, you are getting, look at you there, look at your that, look at your that. So the individual then feels like they are getting so much of that comments, and then it's making them, affecting their self-esteem, it's affecting their mental health. And so then they feel like, that something needs to be done about that. So you have some celebrities who talk a lot about the bullying that goes on. Sometimes it might be that a couple have been together, they've broken up, and then, the fans want this couple together. And so even though they're broken up, there's a lot of hate towards the other person. So all of these things can classify as bullying. And so sometimes there is that subjective aspect too, because if you have a relationship, then it's your relationship. But then if somebody who is a stranger comes to relate with you as if, they have that relationship with you and you feel uncomfortable with it, it is within your rights. The way my husband can, make certain comments about me is different from the way a stranger can make a comment about me. So,
Let's be fair. Let's say two strangers. In the case of two strangers, but you went to click on one's profile and it's like, hey, this guy is fine, so you accept that, and then the other guy may not be your taste. So why are you saying this to me? So it's subjective, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be subjective.
I'll come to how damaging cyberbullying is to a person. But you have people come to you for this reason? Like clients, patients, yeah.
Not as often. Usually it's stress. And so their stress or depression can come from lots of different sources. And cyberbullying can be one of them, but not just the major thing.
Who's likely more to be cyberbullied, women or men?
I think probably women.
Women?
Yeah.
Is there a reason? I mean, Isaac is smiling. I want to know. Is there a reason women are more... I mean, you will have the statistics. You work with the CSA, so you would know. Is there a reason? Is that so? Is there a reason?
Well, first of all, I'll say cyberbullying actually is underreported. We don't have, too many incidents coming in as cyberbullying. Maybe the after effects are what maybe you are likely to receive through investigations, so that you know that was where it started from. In terms of women and men, women used to be the case, but in this case, we are also seeing quite a lot of men also being cyberbullied online.
Really?
Yes. Even per your physique, posting a picture, you have one pack, and people are So, for now, I would say that it's a balance. We are both male and female are receiving quite a number of
What about children and teenagers?
Yeah. Children and teenagers, I should say, are the ones that are affected most by this cyberbullying, because they are not mentally, should I say, equipped to handle some of the pressure that comes from these comments, right? So kids, yes, they do face it. However, the dynamics are different because we don't have too many of our children, especially those in the senior high schools. When they go to school, they don't normally have access to their devices and all of that. But once they come home, yes, they do. But they hardly report them. They actually try to contain the pressure, and then it develops into something else. That's when you realize that this actually is the case.
Which is more pervasive, physical bullying or cyberbullying among teenagers?
Among teenagers,
high schools,
physical,
high schools.
Because they spend quite a lot of time on campus. School.
Yeah.
Yes, but once they come home, then you realize that all the things that happened in school, the bullying and all of that, now happen on their platforms, like their WhatsApp platforms and all that, because they go back to talk about things that happened in school while they were in school. So it's normally mostly physical. That's because they are most of the time in school, but moves online when they've in their home.
Is it likely that the people who bully these young ones physically are the ones who come online to continue whatever they were doing on campus? Is it likely, or these will be different people?
Normally, the online ones are different. They are not the same people that especially the reported ones. You realize that these ones are more of, should I say, people that they do not even know. People that they just accepted their friend request, they have no identities, they don't know anything about them, and then they post certain comments, maybe on a picture that they posted, and all that. So the reports that we've received, they are not people that they normally know. They are people that are outside their circle of friends. They met them online. Some are even cyber predators online looking to abuse them in certain ways. So they post certain comments in order to get their attention.
It looks like everybody is susceptible to cyberbullying. Everybody, as long as you are online, you can be bullied. Let's go back. Let me backtrack a bit. So what doesn't qualify as cyberbullying? If I came to you and I said that this is what's going on my social media, this is what somebody said, when will you tell me that, oh, but this is not cyberbullying, this is people who share their honest and genuine opinion about something that you've done? What doesn't qualify as cyberbullying?
Yeah, I must admit that it's very difficult to draw the lines in this case, because it's more subjective, like Doc mentioned. Because maybe you might feel this is, but me on the other side feel, oh, this is very normal. But we normally take it very serious when it comes to the point of threats coming in. Okay. However, when it comes to normal candid opinions and those things, we normally want to just give you advice. If you feel you can't handle it, it's either you stay off or you ensure that you put in place the necessary privacy settings to, I mean, it doesn't do away with it totally, but at least it limits it a bit. And then some form of counseling just for you to understand that it is part of wherever you've signed on to be, especially on social media. Once you sign on to it, it is going to happen. And it's dependent on you. So it's very difficult to draw the line as to this is a cyberbullying case or this is not, because it is very subjective.
True.
It is me.
Okay.
So most often it's more about counseling, telling them that this is the reality of social media. You need to either, understand and face it, or you
get
just
off it.
Get off it.
Get off it. Yeah. Dr. Evelyn, Robert, why did my question just disappear from my mind? Oh Lord, okay, let's talk about, I want to get into the mind of the bully. Okay, what goes through the mind of a bully? Why does a person, for some reason, think that they have the right to abuse another person online? What goes through them? What goes through their mind? What necessitates that? And to the extent of it being consistent, so you have people who are consistently on people they don't even know at all, but they are still gradually, every time a person posts, they're there, seeing them. What's happening to this person psychologically?
So psychologically, it could be a lot of reasons. So for one, sometimes you look at the environment. Okay, the environment that the person and that is what they do. Like, they may find it funny, and they may even have been experiencing that themselves. Okay, so sometimes trauma begets trauma. Okay, and so then they decide to repeat that online or even in a physical space. Sometimes too, it's really a level of maturity that might not be there. When you look at their cognitive thinking, their cognitive capacity, they are not there yet. They don't have certain understanding. They may not also have a good level of emotional intelligence to know that my behavior can affect another person, you know, in a negative way. So these are some of the things that could be going on with the bully.
Interesting. Could we describe bullies as having a mental health challenge? Is there a term? Are they mentally challenged? Is it health? I don't know. It's not mental health, is it? It's just behavior.
Well, with the bully, it depends on what else is going on, what other behaviors you see. Because we have what we call antisocial personality disorder,
okay,
and we also have what we call conduct disorder in mental health. And so depending on what else you see, they could, and their age, because usually a younger population tend to have conduct disorder because some of the disorders are based on age.
Right.
So the younger you are, more of a minor, you may be diagnosed with conduct disorder. If you're bullying and then you have other behaviors that are basically tantamount to an antisocial personality. And then once you're older, we can, and this behavior is basically still going on, we can also say that you may have antisocial personality disorder. So it really depends on what other symptoms you are seeing, what other behaviors the person or the individual is exhibiting.
We treat bullies?
Well, when you're treating them, you're not really treating like the bullying. You are really trying to understand why. You're trying to look at the fact that the behavior is really not functional. It is antisocial. And so then you want to work on that so that a person does not have that be part of their personality or their behavior or who they are.
Okay, and what about the victim? Let's talk about the victims now. What are the effects or impact that cyberbullying has on victims?
One is depression. They can become really depressed. They can really become insecure. It affects their self-esteem. And some people even go to the extent of, they may even go to the extent of committing suicide because of, you know, the bullying that they experience. So these are some of the effects of, you know, being bullied. And
these are not age specific. You find an adult, grown person, say my age, or someone in their 40s wanting to take their life because they've been bullied online?
It depends on the individual sense of self. You know, so if you don't really have a good developed sense of self, you're already shaky when it comes to your self-esteem, then you're very you're more likely to really be affected, you know, than the ordinary person who has a good sense of self. And so then, you know, they can get to the point where they are depressed now. It's really, you know, affecting them, and they get to the point where they feel like, why am I even here? So it could get to that point.
Very interesting. And I mean, let me look at the numbers now. Again, what does the numbers say at the CSA? The victims of cyberbullying, are they more teenagers or adults? And do we have people taking their lives? I don't know if you have the numbers or the stats, but do we have a lot of people taking their lives because of this?
Okay, I don't have the numbers here.
Okay.
But there is this ongoing, should I say, cyber issue that we are handling in there where victims are more like victims of cyberbullying. So I don't know if you've heard about the loan apps.
Loan apps?
Loan apps. So there are apps on online that offer certain forms of loans. So they give monies. But before that, the apps are very intrusive in a way that once you download and then you accept everything, it has access to your contacts, it has access to your gallery, it has access to virtually everything on your device. Now, when you want to access the loan, they ask for your personal identifiable information. Once you send that and then they send you the money, now we are receiving reports that the Do not even wait for the time that you are given to service the loan, and then they send all your details, your personal identifiable details, to your contacts. Some of them are fake stories, telling them that maybe you are a criminal, you are wanted, you've committed this crime, not even that you've even gone for a loan. And we've received quite a number of reports.
I've received a message like that.
Yes, there are a lot of people on there. We've received people that are looking at even committing suicide because they feel that everything about them is out there. So when it comes to that, if I talk about the top reported incidents for about this first quarter of the year, is one of them.
Wow.
Yes, and people are being bullied regarding this. They are receiving multiple threats online. The guys are threatening them. The owners of these apps are threatening them. Some do not even go in for the loan. They download the app and are trying to see how best they can access the loan, and then their mobile money wallets are credited there, and then the threat starts.
That's interesting.
Yes, so we have reports of people who are at the point of, suicide. It's a lot of distressing situations, yes.
Really, Dr. Evelyn, I beg you, how do you deal with a cyberbully as a person, individually? How do you deal with a cyberbully?
Individually as a person?
Individually, yes.
Well, when you can set those boundaries, and those boundaries need to be set. So, for example, on Instagram, you can turn off your comments, you can block people, you can set privacy settings. So
sometimes
these
you like
are
the comments, or sometimes you like the likes of the comments.
Yeah.
It increases your numbers. So
yes. So then you can block the individual. So these are some of the things that you can do.
So block a person.
Turn off your comments. You can decide to go off social media for a while, which some people do. Have a private page for some things that you don't want in the general public. So these are some of the things that you could do.
I think immediate source of remedy. If I want to report cyberbullying, where do I go? Is the CSA?
Yes. Yes, so the CSA has reporting points of contact. It's not for just cyberbullying, but all cyber-related crimes that you can find. So it's just there's one short code, 292. Just by texting and calling 292, you're able to reach the cyber.
Please voice it out for us, because a lot
292.
292. So
292, yes.
Send a message to 292.
292, or even call 292. You are able to reach the Cybersecurity Authority. There are some cases where we even demand visual, evidence. So we have also a WhatsApp line, 050-160-3111. So you can also make the reports through WhatsApp, where we can engage further to see the visual evidence of what you are talking about for us to do that. So these reporting points of contact, just 292 and then the WhatsApp, you're able to reach the Cybersecurity Authority.
What is the awareness level like in Ghana when it comes to cyberbullying and reporting, like you said? What has the CSA done to make this even more circulated, so people know that 292 is the place to go to when I'm bullied? Yeah.
So the CSA has in past time, I should even say just last week, the CSA was in the northern region, Tamale, to do awareness creation in various senior high schools. October of every year is Cybersecurity Awareness Month. We do quite a lot of media engagement. We go into schools, we meet various stakeholder groups, PTA, teachers. We do quite a lot. We reach out to, so we've done, I don't have the numbers here, but we've done quite a lot, especially in senior high school, especially at that level, because we feel that is the level that they are being introduced to the online world, and that is where quite a lot of them pick certain attitudes and behaviors. So that has been a major target. So we meet various stakeholder groups. We are all online. We have on our social media handles. We once a while put advisories on there. We engage
once a while.
media.
That's what I wanted to come to, because it looks like you're doing more physical engagement rather than online. What is your presence like online?
Our online is very, especially when we realize that a specific kind of crime, we always put it out there for people to be aware that this is something that is happening and you should be aware. We also engage in various things that people can do to protect themselves. So that is something that we easily, so we send more something like alerts, advisory tips for people to take and protect themselves regarding social or online crimes. So yes, we do both, for if you're a cybersecurity authority and you are
You're
not
not
taking online,
exactly.
I mean, it's
something I'd like to see.
Of course, no. So yes, we do a lot. You can visit CSA Ghana on all social media handles. You see there.
Is it victim blaming, Dr. Evelyn, if someone says that, oh, I said what I said because of what the person did? Do you think that sometimes even the victims take certain actions or do certain things that warrant some of the comments and some of the reactions they get on social media?
Sometimes it could appear so. Sometimes it could appear so. But at the same time, it's really how you also give your feedback to whatever it is that is happening. Okay, so someone is basically doing something that you feel you really have something to say about. You can just watch it and like maybe say whatever it is you have to say to yourself or in your head, and then leave. You don't really necessarily have to go out there and type it out, you know, and just make the other person potentially feel, you know, abused or whatever negative feeling that they may feel. So it's not. You can't say that the person deserves it, so to speak, because then you're almost looking at it's an abusive situation.
Yeah.
If it's perceived as an abusive situation, then you're going to all forms of abuse, rape, so that the person deserves it because they were wearing a provocative dress. So then you're really looking at any form of abuse not being quote unquote deserved, you know, because you can really again control how you respond to whatever thing that you are receiving. You know, I don't have to really return abuse for abuse. No, well, it's not abuse from abuse. It's just your perception of whatever it is that is going on.
And do you offer what you call it, therapy, or what is it called?
Yeah.
The service
Therapy.
Therapy to people who have been bullied online.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, definitely. And even people who are the bullies, so to speak, because then you really want to get into that so that doesn't become, you know, a behavior or a personality, so to speak, because over time, behaviors become personalities.
Okay. We've seen in recent years online applications, apps, social media apps, tech companies employing, like you guys said in the beginning, certain strategies to help people minimize cyberbullying online. Do you think that nationally or locally there's a responsibility on the government through maybe the CSA, like you said, or mobile companies, telecommunication companies? I don't know how that's going to happen, but phone companies and the rest. Do you think they also have a responsibility to help in this fight?
I believe when it comes to cyber issues, I think it's a shared responsibility. All players within the space have a responsibility. In the case of cyberbullying, I don't think there's much that the internet service providers can really do, because they do not regulate content. The onus really lies on the social media platform, the owners of the platform. So in this case, Instagram, Facebook, are talking about Meta, because they have access to the content and are able to regulate content. So internet service providers do not really play a role in that. Yes, but government can also, yes, play a key role. You have, in certain jurisdictions, they have actually criminalized cyberbullying. Okay, in our case, we don't have it fully here. It's just certain aspects of cyberbullying that we have criminalized, the actions on there. So yes, government can look at that as well, maybe in terms of updating the act to capture cyberbullying as a crime, but it needs, stakeholder consultation to really come up with something that would not just take anything, like you mentioned, my opinion, as a crime. You understand? We are preaching that we want people, inclusiveness, getting people, more and more people online. So we don't have to come up with legislations that are going to ward people off. So yes, we all have a key role to play. Even the users of the platform, we also have a key role in terms of mind what you say. When you are posting something or making a comment, just think about it. If this comment I'm about to post, if it's same is said to me, am I going to be okay with it? You just need to ask yourself certain questions before you do. So yes, all of us in the ecosystem have roles to play. The tech giants, I think they are doing what they think they can do. Sometimes even certain words, you are not even able to post them in the first place. You understand? So yes, and they also offer certain guidance on the platform where you can also go and then get, especially if you're a victim, go and then get certain guidance regarding bullying. So yes, we all have a key role to play in here.
Is there, or are there ongoing conversations regarding what you mentioned, regarding policy making to ensure that cyberbullying is now a crime, in updating the act and all that? Are there ongoing conversations, or we've just left it where it is?
No, not at all. If you watch the space of, especially the cyber space, it's a very dynamic space. It changes. So this act is one thing that is likely to change quite a lot, okay, in terms of things that are coming up. You understand? So yes, we can't just say cyberbullying has come up, so we should just run to Parliament and start changing the act. We need to have certain things, or even there are other things that are ongoing. That is not only the acts that we can use to address some of these things. There are other directives that could come higher from the higher office into here. So we can even be looking at, these days there are countries that are coming up with social media policies. So the country has a policy on social media. Maybe that's what we might even be looking at.
Italy just banned, is it ChatGPT?
Yes.
UK is banning TikTok.
Yes.
USA has banned TikTok, of course. France is also doing the same.
Yeah.
So you've said the role of government.
Yeah.
We will get to the point where we'll start banning apps like TikTok and the rest if we think that it's not good for our younger ones. Do you think we can get to the point where we can?
Maybe. I can't talk for government now, but I mean, we would definitely have to do some form of analysis regarding it. And if it warrants that we need to ban it, why not? Especially if it is going to affect the people in our jurisdiction.
I see. I see. I mean, Dr. Evelyn, he mentioned the role of government and how they can help in the fight. What about parents? Do parents have a responsibility to the awards when it comes to this? And bystanders, those of us who are standing by, maybe I go online and I see that you, as my friend, has been bullied online. Can I return bullying with bullying? Because you're bullying my friend, I also bully you. Can that be a responsibility?
I'll start with the bullying for bullying. So if you do that, then you're starting the culture of bullying. So then the other person will also, it becomes like a social media fight. So I think it's better to really check in on your friend to say, like, how are you doing? Or maybe post a comment that is really neutral in support of your friend on social media without necessarily returning bullying for bullying. That is a better way, more diplomatic way of handling it. And then we are looking at the role of parents. So that starts with basically placing some limits on what your children watch, what your children have access to, because especially when they are under your care, their phones are bought by you, so then it's basically your property, and so then you can basically set some of these limits and say you can't go on, you can't have an Instagram account, or you're whatever years old, you can't even go on YouTube, or you can't do whatever it is by yourself, which is what we do at our house. So we are really very mindful about the media exposure that our kids have. And then when it comes to cyberbullying too, because it's a silent form of bullying, it's a silent form of assault. Sometimes, the child can be suffering from that or experiencing that, and then the parent doesn't know, because if it's physical bullying, you come home and it's like, what happened to you? But physical bullying is like really more emotional, it's silent, and so then it's really until you are checking in with your kids, asking how they're doing, and really asking more questions, that you can really try to get access to whether, they're even experiencing cyberbullying, maybe even talking about, having conversations about bullying, having like a lot of conversations about a lot of different things. So these really help, to kind of manage some of these, And
I suspect that even with kids, especially among boys, they will hardly tell their parents that they're being bullied online, right? Because they are boys. You go and stand in front of your mom and say, somebody was insulting me online, somebody called me this online. So they'll keep it within themselves. So it's the parent's responsibility to ensure that while they're giving the child a phone or a device to be online, whether a teenager or not, constantly they're asking, are you okay? What's going on? Should parents constantly check their children's phones, and what's happening with them online?
Yes, you can.
It's not breaching privacy.
Privacy.
15, you can't come to my phone. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Gen what? It's not Z.
Gen Z.
This is beyond Z.
No, you didn't buy the phone. So when you're out of the house and you're living on your own, then you can have your privacy. But then once you're living under, you know, and you're not paying rent, then you know. So basically, yeah, I think sometimes the kids may not even know that they are being bullied. Like that language of, you know, what is happening is bullying. They may not even know that. They may just feel like this person is not nice to me. I have a lot of people who are not nice to me, you know. And so then really looking at other like synonyms, other words, like other languages that you can use to really describe that. You know, if this happens to you, let me know. It is not, you know, it's not safe for you. It's not like you shouldn't be going through something like that. You shouldn't normalize. You know, it shouldn't be like that. This person is being mean to me, and he's saying this thing. And so that conversation is really important when it comes to like talking with your kids about these things.
And what should a parent do? A parent who has no idea how to deal with this, finds out that this is what's going on with my kid, has no technical knowledge in, you know, therapy, or what should they do? What's the immediate thing they should do?
I mean, first, you really have to make sure that the kid is okay. And then it's really about, okay, who is doing the bullying? Are they other students in the school, other classmates? So if that is happening, then they need to talk to school authorities, you know, to say this is what's been going on, and then have that also taken up, like, at the school too as well.
Okay. And recently, perhaps to end our conversation with a typical example is what happened. I don't know if you heard about it. My good friend, Harold Amenya, who got married recently, I don't know if you saw it on social media. People were, people just went hard at him and his wife, you know, because he's sort of like, so he's an actor and he's popular. He's like a celebrity, quote and unquote. And so people know him. And then he got married, he had a private wedding, and people thought he's more handsome than his wife. So the comments were just, you had popular people on Twitter, that foolish boy, but forgive me for calling him a foolish boy on TV, like just going hard at him and his wife, and why would he marry such an ugly woman, and yada, yada, yada. For someone like that who is an adult, of course, he's not a child. Number one, what should he do? I don't know what they are doing. What I realized that they ignore the comments and they even posted more photos of themselves. What do they do? How do they deal with themselves? And then, finally, Isaac, you can help me by telling me, since there's no law explicitly establishing cyberbullying as a crime, what do you do to bullies or corporates of cyberbullying?
Yes, I'm also interested in seeing what like the actions will be, like with something like that as well. But I think that so because it's a partnership and a marriage, he needs to check in with his wife. How is she doing? How is she feeling? You know, what's her response to all of these things that's going on, and just making sure that she's okay. And then together, they can decide maybe what boundaries they want to put in place, how they want to respond to the comments that are coming in. So, I mean, you first check in with your woman. Like, you first make sure that she's good, okay, and then you have her back. And then you have it made known that you have her back. And then, yeah, it's really, at the end of the day, no matter how much media, you know, attention there is, like, home needs to be good, you know. And so, you just make sure that she's good.
Nice.
Yeah. I'll just want to start off with the parenting aspect of just another perspective regarding that, especially the setup of children's accounts on social media. It's very important that you put in the right age.
Okay.
Because they have, should I say, content and other words that you can use, especially for a child. They are high priority in terms of the social media giant. So once you set it up and then the account is known as a child's one, there are certain things that would not even be visible to the child.
The algorithm will work in their favor,
exactly,
right? Okay.
Exactly. But normally what happens is the parent sets up with his details or her details and then gives it off to the child to use. And maybe even that is just the phone itself. But when they are signing on to the social media accounts, they use ages above 18 and all that. You don't get that protection that you need. In terms of what government or what we are doing with respect to offenders in terms of cyberbullying, because there's no act or there's no legislation that criminalizes that. We work with the social media companies. So, for instance, if someone reports, we try to reach out to the person or the offender, okay, just for him to know that what he or she did wasn't the right way, or if he or she could apologize or something to the person.
Do they care?
Bring person to. So if you become someone who has, like the guy that you mentioned, someone who continuously is more known as, or is tagged as.
His name is Bongo Ideas. Please look for him. Look for him.
I know.
I'm reporting him now.
I know. Yes, we can work with the social media giants to, one way or the other, block him, get him off their platforms. Okay, so that person, once you can't register an account in your name with because you are tagged as such a person or a cyberbully. So for now, that is what we can do. Okay.
Do you wait for it to be reported, or does the CSA also look out for these things and deal with themselves?
It has to be reported.
Okay.
Yes. When it escalates to national concerns or national security concerns, then
sometimes you can see. Business consistent.
Yes.
You can see. Sometimes you can see. And finally, before you guys go, do you think that people would? This is an advice. Would you advise that people limit the amount of things they share on social media, the amount of their lives they put out there on social media, or should people say, "What the heck? It's my life. I want to feel free and just do my thing"? What would you advise? This is an advice, not an instruction to our viewers.
Yes, I think when you're using a social media platform, it's really important to be aware of the possibilities. So you're making a decision knowing that there's the potential to have negative feedback, and so then also have at the back of your mind, how will I do with negative feedback? And how much of a negative feedback can I tolerate? So I think having that in mind helps you moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you. Isaac?
Yes, in terms of, it's always something that we preach, in terms of limiting what you share on social media. Aside cyberbullying, okay, there are lots of things that I can get access to certain things about you. So just by studying you or profiling, so criminals, what we do is we profile you, and we are able to get certain information that gives us access to you. It could even be access to your bank account. You are using certain words. I can get certain things around you to have a way to, exploit you. Yes. So as for content, we need to be very careful as to we just put everything out there. We need to be very careful.
And my personal advice, somebody told me, especially on Instagram, there's on your stories, you can do this thing that I used to do a lot. Ask me a question. I don't know if you've seen that thing before. So ask me a question, and you have people who like you constantly asking you questions, and you're also answering. And someone told me that people will take these answers, profile you, where do you come from, how many siblings do you have, all these things, they take it. So please be careful out there when you're sharing stuff on social media. Dr. Evelyn Owusu-Roberts, clinical psychologist, thank you so much. And Isaac Socrates-Mensah, senior manager at the Cybersecurity Authority, thank you as well. Well, Lifestyle Daily done, getting ready for that Botox and fillers conversation. Stay.